What's going on, everybody? It's Key Time coming back with another one to talk about the NBA. There was a lot that happened in the NBA this weekend. But first off, I want to talk about the 76ers. Now, the 76ers yesterday they won versus the Dallas Mavericks. In all likelihood, that was a game that they needed to win. But also, the Dallas Mavericks, they needed to win that game too because the Dallas Mavericks are also sixth. Let me make sure. Currently, the Dallas Mavericks are now eighth in the West after yesterday's loss. Now, like I've been saying, anybody can come out of the West, but that was a game that Dallas needed more because 76ers, they may get Joel Embiid back, but it's not a guarantee. And then even when he does come back, he is gonna have to take at least 5, 6 games to get well equipped and back into the swing of things when it comes to the 76ers, when it comes to their basketball scheme throughout, because most of the since his injury, who has filled that void? Tyrese Maxey. Now Tyrese Maxey, he had a good game yesterday, but it's nothing like having your top player there. And I believe that hopefully Joel Embiid comes back because the 76ers are going to need him in the long run if they want to contend for a championship, not just this year, but next year and the year after that. So that's what I see from the Philadelphia 76ers. It was a great win, tough win yesterday. Dallas fought back in the last few minutes of the game, but all in all, great win for the 76ers. Now, as far as the Clippers, they are at the fourth spot right now. Now everybody keeps talking about the Clippers could make the Western Conference Finals, but they've never made the Western Conference Finals in their franchise history. Now it's been like this for the last, I'd say for the last 12 years. The Clippers, they have a great regular season. But when it comes to the playoffs, they have folded under pressure. Now, need I remind you, those were different teams. Those teams don't compare to this team. But I don't know whether they are a snake bitten franchise. But when it comes to that threshold in the playoffs and the Clippers need to produce, in the past, they have failed to produce. Now, the Clippers are a good team. They could make the Western Conference Finals. But do I think that they're going to make the Western Conference Finals? No, I believe that it's more teams well equipped to make it to the Western Conference Finals other than the LA Clippers. Now, the LA Clippers, they had a good win last night, a 1 point win versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. Minnesota Timberwolves, they are at the second spot in the Western Conference right now after the loss last night. But one thing I can say is that Anthony Edwards, he is balling out of control. He is the main reason why they are at the almost at the top of the West, and also he can take over games too. Anthony Edwards can take over games. Carl Anthony Towns, he can take over games, but not to the same magnitude that Anthony Edwards can play. With the Minnesota Timberwolves, the first round, they gonna win the first round. Whoever they play in the first round, they are gonna win in the first round. Minnesota Timberwolves, the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Oklahoma City Thunder are exceeding everybody's expectations because coming into the season, I had them as a 500 win team. No, excuse me. I predicted them to have a 500 record, but they have exceeded my expectations. OKC and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, as far as I seen the New York Knicks and the Cleveland Cavaliers game and the Oklahoma City Thunder and Phoenix Suns game. Now I'm gonna talk about both of these, and then I'm gonna get into that annihilation that I seen with Golden State and Boston. Now for the Knicks, Jalen Brunson, he got a knee injury, so that is a huge domino effect. Could they win? It could they? Well, more than like they are gonna get into the playoffs. Now the fact, can they win a series in the playoffs? You can't win a series without Jalen Brunson. I'm sorry. Now hopefully Jalen Brunson come back before the playoffs start. But as far as it's looking right now, the New York Knicks might get swept in the first round if they don't get Jalen Brunson back. Now the Cleveland Cavaliers are third in the Eastern Conference right now. They are behind the Boston Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks. Do I see the Cleveland Cavaliers making hay in the playoffs? Yes, I do. But I just see them winning the first round. I don't see them going to the conference finals or even the conference semis. They'll lose in the conference semifinals. But as far as the Cavaliers concerned, the main player that they have is Donovan Mitchell. In the playoffs, Donovan Mitchell is going to have most of the attention. It is going to take three more guys. No, excuse me. It is going to take another person to step up in the playoffs. You got to have somebody other than Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell is good, but he is going to take most of the attention out there when he is on the floor come playoff time. It's going to take two, maybe even three guys to shoulder the load because everybody is going to have to stop Donovan Mitchell in order to win over the Cavaliers. Cavaliers bench, decent, but in the playoffs, you can only go so far with decent when it comes to the playoffs. So that's all I see from the Cavaliers at this point. Maybe they may make hay and get the second seed, but that's all I see. That's all I see them doing. Worst case scenario, they are in the third spot come playoff time. Best case scenario, in the second spot. But that's all I see. They are not going to reach no higher than the second spot. Now, on to the last game of the day yesterday. OKC Thunder and the Phoenix Suns. Now, the Thunder, they have exceeded all expectations. They one of the youngest teams in the NBA. This was supposed to be a rebuilding year for the Oklahoma City Thunder. But last night I seen them where they were up by 25 and they started relaxing a little bit. They started relaxing. Phoenix Suns down by 25. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, Phoenix, you at home, you getting blown out by 25. It was like, I was like saying to myself, I'm like, okay, Phoenix, you gonna have to answer. And they did, and they tied the game up at 86. But like I've been saying, with the Phoenix Suns, it comes down to defense. Offense is great. You got Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and you also have the best three-point shooter percentage-wise in the NBA in Grayson Allen. But when it comes to defense, you are one of the worst in the NBA. And not to mention, in the fourth quarter, you have given up the most leads in the fourth quarter throughout the season. To be exact, you've given up over 20 20 leads in the fourth quarter, and this is throughout the season. There have been some games in the fourth quarter where the Phoenix Suns have been leading, and I've just been saying to myself, I'm like, okay, the game isn't over. Even if they are up by 10, 15 points with 6 minutes left, I'm saying it still ain't over because the defensive side of the court, they do not emphasize. Frank Vogel, he just a happy-go-lucky coach. Don't emphasize nothing. He just let his players play, and that's why the Phoenix Suns are always in shootouts. Now, as far as the Oklahoma City Thunder, they were fortunate to win last night's game after having a lead like they did, because most teams that are up by 25 and then lose the lead, have their opponent tie the game, they go on to lose that game. But Oklahoma City, they are a young team, but they weathered the storm last night because it was a fierce comeback by the Phoenix Suns to tie the game up. And then when the Thunder took the lead back late in the fourth quarter, I said, okay, the Thunder, they got this game, and they went on to win that game by 8 points, 118 to 110. Now, one game that I was expecting, I'm going to get to the next game, and it's the Golden State Warriors and Boston Celtics. Now, this game, I was expecting a competitive game, a close game. But one time in the game, the Celtics were up by 56. And I'm looking at this game, I'm like, this can't be. I'm like, I know the Celtics, they are a good team. They've had 250-point wins this season, but this is the Golden State Warriors. I mean, are they really getting blown out like this? The first half, it was so bad, the Celtics scored 82 points in the first half. Not to mention, the first quarter, they scored 50 points in the first quarter. With them making 10 threes in the first half, with them getting to the free throw line more than the Golden State Warriors did, it all went into this annihilation that we all seen. Now, one thing I did hear after the game in the press conference, in one of the press conferences, Draymond Green said 15 minutes before the game, we were still figuring out our defensive scheme. That didn't sound too good coming from him. Basically, 15 minutes before the game, you are supposed to have all of your schemes, all of your shifts, sets, lineups together. You shouldn't be looking at your scheme 15 minutes before the game and then saying, well, I don't know if this scheme is going to work, because if a team sees that if a team sees that you are having trouble with your scheme, they are going to take advantage of it, and that's what the Boston Celtics did. I mean, I was expecting a close game, something along the lines of 121 to 116, but when I seen 82 to 38 at halftime, I was like, oh my goodness. I'm like, this is an avalanche that we seen, and it was no better in the second half. The second half, I don't even see why the Warriors still had their starters in the second half. I was along the lines. I heard what Stephen A. Smith said at halftime. I would put all of the starters on the first plane back to the Bay Area. And that's what I would have did, because you down by 46. No, excuse me. You're down by 44 at halftime. Ain't nothing going good. And you know that you're going to lose this game. Take the starters out so nobody won't get injured. That's what I would have did. Now, there is something that Steph Curry, he also said something in after the game in his press conference, saying that the Warriors, they used to do teams like that. Yeah, you did used to do teams like that, but everybody has caught up to what the Warriors have done. Only that in today's NBA, it's about shooting. It's about making more threes than your opponent. That's basically what the NBA is right now. And they really don't emphasize defense no more. But if you can make more threes than the other team, more than likely you'll win. That's what the NBA has gotten to now. But as I said, when it comes to defense, I believe the team that plays the most defense in basketball has control of the game. And that's exactly how basketball has been played over the last 50 plus years. If you have a team that is better equipped on the defensive side of the court, you have control of the game. So as of the Warriors, they are at the ninth spot. Maybe they can make some hay and get to the playoffs, but it's just so much. And Steph Curry, he's done so much just to keep this team afloat and to keep this team in the playoff discussion. But outside of Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, he has embraced that bench role. I can still rely on Klay Thompson to give me 20 to 25 points per game. But it ain't looking too good for the Warriors. As far as the Celtics, best record in the NBA, favorite to come out of the East, favorite to win the NBA championship. Can anybody stop the Boston Celtics? We will see in the playoffs if anybody can stop the Boston Celtics. Me, I got the Boston Celtics winning every series in the playoffs and making it to the NBA Finals. There is one question that I would like to leave everybody with. How do you stop the Boston Celtics? And one thing, how do you stop Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown? That's all I got to say. And with that, those are my reactions from the weekend in the NBA. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Click the notification bell to get notified of every video that I upload. And always remember, the key is always on time.